Good morning, everyone. If you thought that you were not going to see my face during all these days because of the viruses and all these things, you were so wrong. Because here I am, Jesus, Mr. the way you want to name it, but here I am to explain you what we are going to do during these days. If you remember, we were on Unit 6, right? And we were talking about healthy life and things like that, and you were telling me the things that you normally do to have a healthy life, like for example, eating healthy fruits, salads, things like that, or for example, practicing sports. All right, good. So today, related to that, we have a part of grammar, and that grammar I have to tell you that is well, I have here the books that we are using at home. It is exactly the same book, and we are going to open on page 88. On page 88, and on page 88, you have something called countable and uncountable nouns. So I'm going to explain you what a countable or what an uncountable noun is. I'm sure that most of you know this already, but just in case some of you are a little lost, I'm going to explain you so clearly, and if you don't understand something, just don't panic, because the good thing about online teaching is that you can ask me whenever and wherever you want to. Imagine if you are at home having lunch and suddenly you have a question because you remember that thing that you couldn't really understand. Just go to your computer and ask me, and I will answer as soon as possible. So, coming back to the topic, countable and uncountable nouns, I'm going to tell you what a countable noun is. A countable noun is a noun that can be counted. Very easy. Like, for example, we have apples, we have bananas, we have eggs, burgers, tables, chairs, anything that can be counted. How do you know if that can be counted? So easy, because you can say one banana, two bananas, three bananas, four bananas, 1,000,000 bananas. So that's the way for you to know that that can be counted. One of the characteristics of this type of nouns is that you can use the singular form and you can use the plural form, of course, because if you say one banana, banana is singular. If you say two bananas, you have to use the plural form in this case. Good. Did you understand? I'm sure you did. What about the uncountable nouns? Uncountable nouns is right the opposite. If you can count a countable noun, you cannot count an uncountable noun. So easy. For example, words like milk, water, bread. Yes, bread is uncountable. Bread, cheese, and other words that maybe in Spanish is a bit confusing, in English is uncountable. Salt, sugar, etc. How do you know if it is uncountable? So easy, because you cannot say one milk, two milks, three milks, four milks, etc. You can say maybe one glass of milk, two glasses of milk, three glasses of milk. So this is why milk, water, bread, salt, etc. is going to be only in singular. Only in singular, because you say milk. You are never going to say milks. Easy, right? It is so easy. But as I said before, if there is something that you don't understand, just tell me, ask me, text me, and I will tell you. Good. Related to this topic too, we have also some words like, for example, some and any. We're going to begin with some. I'm sure that you all have used these two words sometimes, but that is also true that sometimes it is a little bit confusing. It's like, when do I have to use some or when do I have to use any? I'm going to explain you now. So easy. Some. We're going to use some with uncountable nouns, like for example, some water, some milk, some bread, some sugar. And we are going to use some also with countable nouns, plural, only plural. Why? Because for the singular, we can say a, and, one. But in plural, if you don't want to say the number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can say some bananas, some apples, some, I don't know, hats, for example. Some, if you don't want to say the number, you can say some with uncountable nouns and with countable nouns, but only in the plural form. What about any? With any, we have that with uncountable negative and interrogative can be used too. For example, if you come back to your books on page 88, here it says, I haven't got any milk. That is negative and it is uncountable. Uncountable, milk, and negative, haven't got. I haven't got any milk. Or, for example, you can say, he or she hasn't got anywhere, for example. Or, what about the interrogative form? So easy. You can say, have you got any orange juice? Have you got any orange juice? Or has she got any sugar? Has she got any sugar? We are using any for interrogative sentences, for questions. Okay, we're not going to say, have you got some water? You can hear that, but it is not grammatically correct. So, we have uncountable, negative, and interrogative with any. But we can use any also with countable, plural, negative, and interrogative. Only countable plural again, alright? So you can say, for example, here in your books again, you have some examples. One of them says, he hasn't got any apples. He hasn't got any apples. Or, for example, I haven't got any hats. I haven't got any hats. It's easy to understand, right? What about the interrogative countable? The same. Have you got an iPhone 20, for example? Have you got an iPhone 20? Or you can say, has he got any dogs or cats? For example, has he got any dogs or cats? It's easy. Countable nouns in questions and negatives, any. Do you understand this? If not, remember, you can ask me on the platform through Classroom. You can ask me all your questions. But anyway, it is well explained here. You just have to watch my video. You just have to read this explanation, and I'm sure you are going to understand everything perfectly. What about these words? Much, many, and a lot of. Much, many, and a lot of. Normally, well, they are kind of confusing sometimes too, and sometimes we say things like, I have much apples, no? Because it's like in Spanish, much, mucho. But no, it is not like that. I'm going to explain you because it also has some rules. Like, for example, well, there is a general rule that says that when we are talking about big quantities, and you don't really know the number, and it's like, I don't know, there are a lot of people infected with coronavirus, for example. We use this type of words, okay? If not, we could say 100, 23, 4, any numbers. Much, many, and a lot of. Much is going to be used with uncountable nouns. Always with uncountable nouns. Never, remember this that I normally do in class, like, never with countable nouns, okay? And we're going to use it in negative and interrogative. Like, for example, you have to come back to your books, and here it says, we use much, many, and a lot of to talk about big quantities. We often use much in negative sentences and questions with uncountable nouns. For example, I haven't got much lemonade. I haven't got much lemonade. Or, have you got much water? Have you got much water? We're using this for questions and for negative. We're using much with uncountable for questions and for negatives. But what about countables? What if we want to say something in negative or interrogative, but with a countable noun? So easy. We have to use many. Like, for example, well, come back to your books again, and here you have some examples. Like it says, I haven't got many chips. I haven't got many chips. Or it says, have you got many eggs? Have you got many eggs? Anyways, you can also use much, many with affirmative sentences, but don't worry about that now. We are going just talking about negative and interrogative, all right? Good. What about if we are not sure if something is countable or if something is uncountable? We have a little trick. We have a little trick, and it's a lot of. A lot of. We are going to use a lot of with everything. Everything. Like, for example, you can say, we said before, much water. So you can say a lot of water. We said before, maybe many apples. So you can say a lot of apples. A lot of is going to work with countable and uncountable nouns. The only thing is that it has to be always in plural. Did you understand all this? I'm sure you did. It is so, so easy. So, remember, as a summary, countable and uncountable nouns. Alright? Countables are going to be used in singular and in plural. One banana, two bananas. Uncountable is going to be used only in singular. Much water, water, milk, sugar. We're never going to say waters, milks, sugars. That's completely wrong. What else do we need to remember? Some and any. Some is going to be used with uncountable nouns, like for example, some water, and countable nouns in plural, like for example, some bananas. And any is going to be used with uncountable negative and interrogative, and countable plural negative and interrogatives. Like for example, I haven't got any water, or I haven't got any apples. Or have you got any water? Have you got any apples? Interrogatives and negatives. What else do we need to remember? Much, many, and a lot of. When we are talking about big quantities, much, many, and a lot of. Much with uncountable, like for example, much water. Many with countable, like for example, many apples. And a lot of with everything. Everything. A lot of water and a lot of apples. So, I hope you understood all this. I think it is quite easy, and you all are very clever students. If you have any questions or doubts, just ask me. But remember, we're going to practice with some activities. I will send you the activities through Classroom, as I said before, and I'm sure that you are going to understand everything without any doubt, because you all are amazing. So I hope to see you soon. I really miss you guys. And in 2 weeks, we're going to be in class again, having fun. And I'm going to start singing again. Not today. But if suddenly in another video, some words remind me of a song or something, take into account that I'm going to sing and even dance. All right. See you soon, guys. I love you.